my beautiful pregnant wife.
4 weeks.
4 weeks. We're
It's
gonna
only
have
4 weeks.
another one. That's it. She's at the stage where she's going every week now to
Yep.
the doctor.
And you said a scheduled C-section?
Yeah, April 13th.
That seems like the way to go.
Well,
Not that I know.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't do
Yeah.
it. We didn't do a C-section either time. But when it's scheduled, it just seems like you can plan for it. Because you literally were talking about like, oh, this is the day the baby's coming. That's a kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
Wait, do you know the sex?
Yeah, it's a boy.
Oh.
Yeah, so 3 girls and a boy.
Had to find out, didn't you?
We do. Well, just kind of a reason to party. You know, we've done a gender reveal for every single kid.
Oh, have you?
So it's just an excuse to...
Dude, but you want to talk about a crazy surprise. Not knowing.
Yeah.
It's a
like
wild,
Like
yeah.
until...
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Like when we had my son, when my wife had my son, I shouldn't be saying that.
Well, it's kind of like people use like we're pregnant.
I don't like those people.
You know. Yeah.
But like the nurse.
Do you want to try a scissor? Have you ever seen one of these things?
Bro, you about to blow my mind? No. What are you about to
You
do?
could just cut it like a scissor.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I like the V cut.
You do? All right, go with the V.
I'm
I just didn't want. I don't know if you
Go
wanted
with
to
the
be
V.
like an aristocrat or anything tonight.
Am I doing it? Yeah. Down with the V. Yeah, look at that. That's so legit. But no, like when my wife was pregnant with my son, when she started going into labor, all the nurses up and down the hall all came in the room. Because they were even saying, they're like, we never get surprises anymore. So everyone's just like, what's this baby going to be?
Oh.
Yeah. It was really cool.
Did you do that for both?
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
My daughter, though, is my first child, so I think I was more of just in shock of having a kid in general. And I did always, I wanted a boy, like most men. And all I had known at that point was a daughter. She was 2 by the time my son was born. And so I think instinctually I just kind of felt like, all I know is girls, so it's going to be another girl. I just assumed it was a girl the whole time. That doctor pulled my son out, and his ball sack was 4 inches long. They were like, that's normal. Because at first I was like, does he have elephantitis?
No way.
His balls were like this big.
I've never, this is so strange because I've had 3 girls.
I think they
have no
come out and
idea.
there's like an extra boost of testosterone. Or there's something, I don't know, but I think it's normal.
I'm actually glad that we're having this conversation. So
You're about to see
so
some
I'm prepared.
gonads.
Yes, I'm prepared for this.
Well, I don't know if it's like that with the C-section.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, this will be an interesting. Well, you know what? Now we have.
Well, they like sprung it, so my wife is giving birth. This is during fucking COVID too, so it's like they got a mask on her. They have a mask on her. She's just like breathing and pulling it down. They're like, "Put your mask up," and I'm done.
way.
Even mine's all the way down, and no one's saying anything.
in
to
the
me.
middle of pushing.
In the middle of pushing,
That
they
is
kept
like
saying
the most
it. Yeah.
insane thing I've ever.
And then the baby's like halfway out. The head is out, and the doctor out of nowhere goes, "Here, you pull her out." Or pull the baby out, talking to my wife, and my wife's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Here, give me your hand," and my wife's like screaming, "No!" And the lady just like forced it because I think she just saw an opportunity of like the baby's coming out clean. Although that was never discussed. My wife just reaches down and pulls him out, and she's like pulling him out, and I just remember like it was like he came, and then the ball sack came after him. That's how long it was. It was beautiful.
That is yes, that is truly special. That's one way to start this.
But I was in shock. Oh yeah, I forgot we're being filmed. I was in shock. Like, I think I was so excited. I mean, I was the same way with my daughter. I think I was more emotional with my daughter where it was like, oh my God, I have a child. This is like...
The first,
the responsibility hit. And also just like, wow, like this is what it's like. It was just, I remember it was so overwhelmed. And then the second time, you're about to experience a fourth, so it's like, But I do feel like, at least for me, the second time was more of like, I was soaking in the moment rather than being a little like beside myself of like not knowing what was going on or what to expect. So this time it was like I was soaking it in.
I was terrified of the unknown.
Yeah.
Like you can only like talk to so many people and like try to prepare yourself for like, but it's like a kid that you have to like keep alive. It's not like a dog You like put in the cage, you put the food out, it eats. You know, it already goes to the bathroom. Like you have to.
Not if you want to be a good parent.
If you want to be a good parent, of course.
Practice.
You have to like do everything for this new little creature of yours, and like the hospital just like a couple of days later just sends you home with it, and then you're just like, okay, go get them.
I remember
You're
being
like,
in the hospital,
like,
and they're
what
like,
am I supposed to do?
Yeah, they're like, all right, it's probably about time to check out. And I was thinking like,
I'm like, you guys have been helping me this whole time. Like I've never even changed a diaper before.
we're just gonna leave with this.
You trust me to take this little baby home?
And I remember I put my daughter in the car seat, and they're like helping me, and it's like I remember thinking I've never used this thing. I have no idea. The night my daughter was born, my wife's sleeping, and the nurse comes in, and she's like, I think it's time to change her. And I was literally like, I've never done that. I've never practiced. I've never been around a baby. Like, will you please help me? She said, oh, no problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was
basically
so
just watched
unprepared.
them.
I was so unprepared.
I got like the 101 on the couple day hospital stay after that with all the nurses. I was like just watching over their shoulder.
Really?
Like exactly like what they're doing. I was like, oh, that's a good technique. I'm like, oh, so you use the diaper. That's like the first wipe when you're taking it off.
Smart. I remember
like,
that now.
Oh,
Feels
like
like it's been a
interesting. It's
while.
like all these things. But now it's like with the fourth, I'm just like, I'm ready. I'm just like, let's go. Get this boy out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been in
You'd be like,
baby.
we're leaving the night of. We're going home.
Well, on our last one, we basically did that's because Stanford Hospital in Connecticut, it's just a horror show for our situation because we don't do vaccines and we don't do any of the normal things that everyone wants you to do. So it was like a whole ordeal. They called our pediatrician.
Like, you guys gotta get out of here.
They like wouldn't let us go. Basically, they called our pediatrician without our knowledge to basically confirm that we're like stable parents, because all we did was deny. I'm like, I remember talking to the head nurse or whomever it was, and I'm like, we have a choice on this, right? We can say yes or we can say no. She's like, yes, you have a choice. I'm like, our choice is no. And then they just go back and forth because they want people to make informed decisions. And I understand their perspective, but also it's still my choice that I'm allowed to make, because we can just go to the pediatrician to do the shots if I don't want the hospital administering them. And it was just like this whole thing, and I stayed calm. I was cool because I don't mess with that stuff. I'm not gonna have them flag us and then like try to take our kid away from us because they say that we're a danger to the children.
Yeah.
Like I'll never do that.
To think about.
It's terrifying.
Yes.
So, but yeah, we checked out. I think we stayed there one full day after a C-section, which is like the craziest surgery ever.
Yeah, that's fast.
And we just went home because we already did that 2 times. She had 2 prior cesareans at the same hospital, and it was just the care just wasn't what she needed, and so it's more comfortable at our house.
Yeah.
So we just decided to.
Are you doing it at TGH? Or are you doing it?
Yeah, we're doing it at TGH.
That's where my son was born. It's a good one. Yeah, we did one at my daughter was born at like a women's hospital, and it was like, the experience wasn't as good as TGH. I thought it was really good.
We did a tour, and my old neighbor actually was John, the CEO of TGH.
Really?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know if that's gonna help us. Like, I don't know if there's a VIP section.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I broke my foot and had to go there once. So you could tell them about that. They might hook you up.
You know that the Casey Walsh actually.
He was in here in 2015. Broke his foot. You got to remember, right?
He kind of got like reddish hair. Funny guy, freckled.
It was real red back then.
We actually got some comments and a lot of views. I was actually afraid of
Where at?
the views on some of our previous videos that we've done, and I've clipped them and put them on like Instagram and whatnot. And I had a feeling like the stories that you told about like those like horror accidents.
Oh yeah.
Those are very popular.
Are they? I probably should have.
Those are very.
As soon as
popular.
I'm telling it, I'm like,
And I remember like clipping those and just being like, oh, like should I even post these things? Like,
he's the one.
it is
telling him.
true.
Yeah.
And it's not,
Oh, I told the dump story.
the bulldozer one.
Yeah, I did tell that one.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I'm like, these are true stories, and although, because I'm thinking of like the people
The legality of it.
no,
Oh.
well, No,
It's
because
been- yeah.
it's all as long as you're being truthful.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm thinking about like on the other side, like the parties involved having to like potentially relive that, and if like that's okay. But I'm just like, but you know, if that's what happened, that story could actually be a really great lesson for somebody else.
Well, especially
You
the
know,
guy
and
in
learn from that.
the
We're
accident
helping
at the
somebody.
dump. Like, I love that dude to death. And he worked for me for a long time afterwards, and that was always the thing. I was just like, dude, you're one of the toughest son of a bitches I've ever met. Always thought, like, I'd hold that as a badge of honor. Like,
Yeah.
I took on a fucking bulldozer.
Yeah, I mean,
And I didn't lose.
yeah.
I mean, he did for a little bit, but...
No, that's great. I mean, it's just what a miraculous story. The highway one, that one is very popular as well.
Yeah, that one hurts for me to think about sometimes.
Your story, because it's very sad,
Yes, it is.
you know. But again, real lessons. There's not there's no made up stories here. So
Yeah.
that's
Well,
just
that
it is
I don't
what
even
it
know if I
is,
told
like,
that
you
in
know.
that story, but one of the things that happened is as soon as I found out what was going on, because I found out via a news clip on Facebook or something. But I remember my daughter, we were just talking about, was like not even a year old yet. I remember calling my wife because there was such a shock in the moment. And when I called my wife, I remember just being like, I got to tell you what's going on. I don't want you to worry, but I think she could tell us like I was worried because there was a moment where I was like, there's no way I keep my business. They're going to take this from me.
Yeah.
Like someone's going to take this away from me. This is but also at the time I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know if it's like, did we actually do something? Did we cause this? It was the information that was so small, and I'm all the way in Tampa, and this is in Raleigh, North Carolina. Man, that was a scary thing. It's even weird to relive it sometimes.
What
But yeah.
actually? How did that actually unfold? Like, so you said you were in court, right, with like insurance. Was that the case that you were talking about?
Yep.
And
That
so,
was all Zoom meetings because that was right around 2020 when when it first.
so
Yeah.
that was Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
So what actually happened? So you were obviously cleared of everything, no
Yeah.
wrongdoing.
So at the time, my insurance agent and everyone I talked to was just like, look, if you want this to go away, just exhaust your entire policy. So I think at the time we had a $2 million policy. It was like exhaust the policy, give the whole thing away so that they're not nickel and diamond, and they try to so it's like they were saying like, yes, it's not your fault, but you're involved. If you do this, the goodwill alone will kind of make it to where you're not involved anymore. But we still were involved. Like I would sit in on stuff, but for the most part, I think the guy that hit us, that being such a major trucking company, I think the lawyers zoomed in on that, and we got overlooked a little bit. I mean,
Really?
they did. I mean, they took my policy. That would killed me.
So what happened with that?
What's that?
So what happens with that? So you exhaust the policy.
You're fucked.
You did that. So
Yeah.
talk about that.
So it just, you know what loss runs are, right? So
Well,
it
what
was
is a loss
basic-
run? I guess just say that for
A
people. that may
loss
not know.
run, in layman terms, is basically just what you cost the insurance company
Right.
in a given year.
And
And
use
they
that-
look at you as a profit machine.
Right.
So it's like, you paid us X, how much and you cost Y.
Yes,
and if Y is more than X, you're a big liability.
Right. Premiums
So to
go up.
exhaust your entire policy, the next underwriter that looks at you is like, oh, you spent $200,000 on your insurance and you cost us $1 million.
Right.
You not only aren't profitable, you're a liability. So then your insurance rates skyrocket. Like, I remember we put trucks down. We insured less trucks for like 2 years. It stalled growth. It really pinched a lot. Oh yeah,
Wow.
it pinched a lot.
I didn't see that as like the ripple
My,
effect.
my insurance went up, I think it was 3 times.
I thought it was just like it wasn't your fault, and so life just kind of resumed. That's like my takeaway from that story was
No.
it was a crazy thing that happened.
No.
It wasn't your fault, and you had to go to court, and things were a little troublesome. But then everything went back to normal, and it was all fine. I didn't realize.
Yeah, it was probably
the
5. It
repercussions
was
on
a
that.
solid 5 years before it kind of went away.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. We were like, if I would have had, like, let's say, if I would have had a smaller policy, and I don't know what would have made it any better. And it's like, it's weird for me to talk about it because like, oh, it hurt my. It's like, we came out of that, like, none of my guys got hurt.
Well, yes, of course.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's weird to talk about it.
We're not
It's
comparing
like,
people. Yeah, we're not comparing the people. We're just talking about the business and the effects of the accident.
But so the thing, I guess, when I looked at it is, it really made, like, insurance is a nasty business.
I could strangle.
It's a nasty
I could strangle
business.
if they were real people.
Oh, they're real people.
Like, they're bloodsuckers.
Yeah, it's so. I have another story.
Oh, well, let's hear it. Lay it on us.
So this is an insurance story. So 2015, I have an auto insurance policy. I've been with this company 5 years. Every year they just renew it, right? Every year they're renewing, or not 5 years, probably 3 years. They're just renewing it every year. And every year they're like, oh, it's up a little bit, and I'm just kind of like, okay, like I don't, didn't know anything about that world. To me, it was just
Never goes down.
It was just a pay to play.
No matter what.
Turns out, so I have insurance, right? And I have full insurance, and I have a separate company which does my work comp.
Yeah.
So I have work comp, I have a liability umbrella, and then I have my auto insurance.
Right. Those are the three insurances that every business should
Yes.
have. Auto, worker comp, liability.
Yep.
General liability, yes.
And my guys are on the Howard Franklin Bridge crossing over the bay, right? 2 employees in the truck, both wearing their seatbelt. A uninsured driver comes up next to them, and he's pulling a trailer. He goes in front of them, like they're driving like this. He gets out in front, and then he goes to merge, and I don't think he really knew how to maneuver that trailer yet. But he merged, and that trailer goes right into our truck, and then the trailer jackknifes, and so then our truck is pushing against it, and they're going 50, 60 miles an hour on the highway, going over the water, and our truck, as soon as it turns slightly sideways, flipped.
Oh, goodness.
So the truck flips and skids down the row on the passenger side. So it's flipped and skid on the passenger side. And again, luckily everybody was okay. They shut the bridge down. This time we weren't in the news, but
I'm surprised.
they shut the bridge down. Again, it was one of those stories. I get the phone call and I can't do anything. I had to wait for them to figure out what was going on. And the one guy in the passenger seat, because the truck landed, it shattered the glass, and he ripped his arm up.
I was just gonna say that, but the guy in the passenger seat,
So he got, but he went back to work about a week later. So it was not that bad. It was bad, and it was like he got a really bad rash that looked somewhat like a burn. He
Imagine
went to the
not
hospital.
having a seatbelt on. I mean, I don't even know what would happen then.
Yeah, that's true.
That's crazy.
At the time, that was the absolute craziest thing that had ever happened. It's weird to bring up the other story first. But anyways, his sister was a lawyer, right? So she does what lawyers do, and she pulls all of our insurance. She looks through everything. She's trying to find out, but it's, we paid him for the time he was off. Work comp covered everything. We're insured, right?
Yeah. But she wants to see if there's a case that she might be able to build
against the insurance company. She's not even worried about me.
Yeah.
She finds a back door at the bottom of my policy. My insurance agent, who knew I wasn't looking, was giving me insurance I did not need. So he's adding insurance to my policy to make more money for himself. So he pulls a selfish act, and he adds what's called uninsured motorist policy on my account. Okay. Sounds good, but when you have workman's comp, all of that does is open up a back door. So because the guy that hit me didn't have insurance, they went around workman's comp, back through the uninsured motorist policy, and took $250,000 out of the policy.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, I know I believe it's a law in Florida to have that on personal.
On personal, yes.
But for business, I didn't realize.
And I learned all this because when it all happened, because I learned about it so no one even told me. I didn't find out about this till the loss runs come. And they're like, well,
Yeah, I know.
you had a decent year, except for this $250,000 loss. And I was like, you're wrong, because that never happened.
Yeah.
And then they start telling me, like, they're looking through it, and they tell me the whole story. And then the guy that sold it, I remember sitting in the meeting with him. And he was like, oh, it's the law. And it's like, I had already talked to a buddy that I had like run this whole thing through that worked for an insurance company. And he told me, he was like, this is what happened. This guy did this. So then I'm sitting in the meeting and I'm watching this kid squirm around, and he's like, well, it's state policy. And I said, is it for commercial? And he's like, well, and he's like jumping around trying to like dodge the question. And then reality is like, no, you did this, and now my insurance is going up.
Yeah.
And it was like, but anyways, I found, and I had to like, that was the first time I had a big spike in insurance, and that was before the big accident. But again, it's like, you got to be on your P's and Q's about everything. And I learned a lot about insurance through that experience, and that was a lot more than I ever wanted to know. But you think you can trust people, and so often it's, I don't know.
I mean, are you for sure he did that?
Yeah, I hired a lawyer and everything.
But is it possible that he really did think it was the law and he was just bad at his job?
Well, it wasn't there for the 2 years prior.
Okay.
So, but
Trying to give the benefit of the doubt.
yeah,
I
but I never sued him, because I hired a lawyer, because I was like, is there a case here? And he looked at it and he's like, there is. But he's like, you're talking about going after an agency. He's like, by the time this is all said and done, he's like, they're going to paperwork us to death. Are you even going to gain anything from it? Because like
Right.
my argument was, I was basically like, you're about to cost me X extra for the next 3 years until this comes off. That's my loss. But then after my anger about it kind of subsided, I just moved on. And
That's like with most things. I mean, the insurance is so funny to me because it's like, you actually don't control anything with the insurance. Like, you actually say thank you for even getting the insurance. Thank you so much for even insuring my company, especially in this industry, because there's not a lot of people out there. Once you get to a big enough size,
it's hard. Yeah.
you have more options. But as a
because we go to the dump.
Well, it's the trucks and it's that type of work.
Yeah.
And I think the dump too is a really big one. But they do anything. Like, you have no control. Because I remember like issues would happen with guys who would lie about getting hurt. Like, I would have other workers tell me that this guy who is filing for like a back injury, like one of those things that can never actually be proven, like by a doctor or anything. It's just like one of those pains that like you can't, you know what I mean? And they would be like, boss, like nothing happened, like, and I'm just like, and then I would go to the insurance and I'm like, listen, like I have like this and that, and they're just like, we're not gonna fight. We don't touch that kind of stuff. Like, these workman comp issues, like, we just pay for it. And I'm like,
well, it's like the Foot Locker thing you said last week.
That's crazy though. Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just, hey, this is part, like, there's some people out there that take advantage.
Yeah. Like the internal theft thing. That was the.
All these systems that we have, it feels like is basing, so much is based off, we're just hoping most people are good.
Yeah.
That's like most of the systems we have are based off like, well, because we were talking about chargebacks. It's the same thing. Yeah. And it's like, the fact that you can just charge back almost anything
no, it's crazy.
Says that it's like, well, we're banking on the fact that most people are just, they got scruples. Like they're not bad. They're not trying to get over on you.
Yeah.
But the ones that are okay with getting over on you can do it with no repercussions.
Right.
I had a checkbook.
I think that's crazy. I mean, how do you just like let those people just continue to be terrible?
Back when I still used to write checks, I had a checkbook stolen out of the mail, right? And this woman it was like a book of checks, so it's like not just one checkbook, but like, I think they come in books of 5.
Yeah.
She wrote a $99 check on every checkbook and cashed it, and they gave her the money. And I went into the bank because I was like, it was thousands gone, and I was like, what is this? Like, and they were like, oh, this is obviously fraud. And they were like, it doesn't pull triggers when it's under $100, so this is what we see them do. They just give me the money back. They never go after her.
Yeah.
They never do anything. It's like she took like 10 grand, and it's like, but
the bank has insurance.
It quickly didn't matter to me because I'm just like, well, they took it from the bank, but she just goes in a mailbox and just
yeah.
and there's no repercussions.
The health insurance thing is always the craziest part for me, like, because I see it from, because we pay, we're self-pay with all of our health insurance. So we have a Christian sharing program that's like it's health insurance, but it's not labeled health insurance because like whatever the laws are. So we pay
Like a group?
cash, yeah. So we pay cash and then we get reimbursed by the group. So it's like everyone who pays into this every single month, like millions of people throughout the nation.
Oh, okay.
All those people who don't actually need insurance bills, for whatever reason, they just pay into it. And then if they ever got hurt, then they would take out. It's kind of like a community involvement thing. It's like a Christian-based thing.
Cool.
It's very nice. And I love it because you get cash price for all services. So when you go and you have like one of these big carriers like Blue Cross Blue Shield or one of these things, you go and you pay the deductible. But if you ever look at those bills, they're astronomically high for like anything.
Yeah,
so
Tylenol's like $30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you go and you pay cash for everything, you get the cash price. So that it shows the discount. It'd be like, well, this service would have been like $1,200, but you only have to pay $50.
Oh my God.
And it's like it's literally that much.
Yeah.
And so the best one just came in the mail today because we have this scheduled cesarean. So TGH bills early. All the hospitals bill early.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, here you go. Like, here's your bill. It's $84,000. And so we go back to them and we're like, this is for a cesarean, $84,000. So I guess that includes the scalpel.
Yeah.
And the linen. But so we're paying cash though. So we're not insured.
Yeah.
So we need the cash price bill with you to show us. How much do you think it came down to from $84,000?
How much?
It's now $10,000. So $74,000. It's padded because of insurance. Like, so what does that tell you? That there are so many uninsured people. Like, the reason it's padded, well, there's probably a few reasons, and I don't understand why we're talking about this on this podcast, but it kind of goes into like the people who do wrong and they never have repercussions. I think
Or is it because they pad it?
And it's a racket.
I would assume they pad it because they want to show, like, it's almost like padded for the benefit of insurance, because it'd be like, you don't want to not have insurance because look how expensive this is, but the insurance doesn't pay $84,000. There ain't no way the insurance company's paying $84,000 for a cesarean. They get the bill, and then there's probably like, well, here's.
Oh, there's probably like some. Yeah, that's right.
It's probably $5,000. It's like.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't really know how that works, but I just think that's crazy.
That's the point, though. You don't know how it works. That's what they want.
Yeah.
It's like you can't.
But it actually
it's
costs.
like taxes. Like if you understood it, we would all just do it, and we would be able to. But instead, it's like, no, you got to hire somebody for this. It's too confusing.
But think about like the $10,000. The hospital would never send a bill where they're not actually making money or they're breaking even. So even at $10,000, the hospital's still making money on that surgery. So even if they did bill $84,000 and they got most of it, let's just say, I have to imagine that the insurance companies actually do pay that out.
There's
or
no
close
way.
to it.
There's no way. How would the insurance companies make money?
I have no idea how any of this works. But what does that bill even mean?
It's Fugazi.
It's
not. No one's paying $84,000. There's just no way that the insurance company would pay $84,000.
I don't know. Well, why would they have a bill that says
that?
We gotta bring in some insurance guy.
Bring the what's it called guy. There's no way.
I don't know, but that was real today. $84,000 to $10,000. Oh, you're paying cash? $10,000. $10,000 will do it.
Or it could be like, you're not gonna pay.
Well, that's the whole other thing.
Yeah.
It's just like
chargeback.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
You should have been like, you know what? Do the 84. Let's just do the 84.
Here's my credit card.
Amex.
Yeah. Just you go ahead and charge that. To have the kid. And it's just nuts. It's nuts.
The chargeback thing, man. I can't take it.
I used to get so worked up.
I think it's like becoming. I think it's getting out there more and more now. I think more people are. I don't know if it's like. There's a trend out there where people are, but it's happening more now than it ever used to.
Oh, you're seeing that in your business.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing it on a kind of a consistent. It's always our dumpsters. It's nothing else. It's only our dumpsters.
I get that a lot because of the overweight, the extra charges.
No.
Do you have extra charges?
We do, but like they're rare. That's not the chargebacks.
Oh, it's just the rental
Yeah, we
itself.
rented a guy 5 dumpsters, and I was dealing with this today. That's
What do
I was
they
thinking
say,
about.
though? They have to give a reason. They just say fraud.
To who?
No, to the credit card.
Oh. Yeah, they might just be like, I don't know what this is. It's not mine. And they'll,
I didn't put this charge through or
I didn't
something.
do
And they're
this.
just like, oh, it was a stolen credit card.
yeah, and then they change their phone number.
Yeah, that's
That's what the guy did today. 5 dumpsters in December does a chargeback. That's $2,500 bucks or
right.
something. It hurts. It
It
sucks.
does. Yeah, it always does.
Yeah.
It's brutal. I don't.
And there are never people where they're like, my bad.
Right.
Here's the money.
I've gotten some chargebacks returned because I go after them with the lawyer letter.
Oh yeah.
You might want to look into doing that. You don't do that at all. It's just a simple demand of payment letter from an attorney. That's it.
And
it's like if you need help
I
paying,
just do a lot of yelling
you
and
can
screaming.
And you just like punch a wall or something.
Yeah. No, at them. I yell and I scream. It just
At the
never
customers.
works. No, I never get them on the phone.
Like some, I mean,
But it's partly our fault too, because it'll be like, oh, this was a contractor. The only address we have is the customer's house. I'm gonna send them a demand letter. Sometimes you can. You pinch them a little bit. Be like, hey, if this guy's still working here, it's like, I'm gonna file a lien on your house or whatever threat you give to them. But
well, I guess it's
they know
how
what they're
bad
doing.
do you want it? Yeah, I know.
Most of the time, they know what they're doing. It's not. This isn't the first chargeback this guy's done.
There's other scams though. Have you ever gotten scammed this way where people sell fake people on Facebook Marketplace, sell a dumpster to some other person on Facebook Marketplace, and then they hire you to fulfill,
And then they charge it back.
and then they charge it back.
Okay, so is that real? So
that's a real thing. That's happened to me like a dozen times last year, and we finally were able to stop it.
So that's funny. I was literally dealing.
Yeah.
So today I had a dumpster chargeback. That's why this was on the top of my mind. I had another dumpster chargeback, and I get the guy on the phone, and this was an unusual one because he's like, "Hey man, I paid you." And I was like, "Yeah, you did pay me, but you charged it back." And he's like, "No." And he's like, "I'll show you."
Because you were talking to the homeowner who bought it off like the Facebook guy.
No, I was talking the contractor, and he goes, "I paid you." And then I was like, "You didn't." And then he literally was like, I was like, "You charged it back." He's like, "I didn't charge it back." And he goes, and he sends me the invoice that says paid, and it's not my invoice.
Yeah.
So he
And
hired.
how did he pay that guy? Probably like through Zelle or cash or something like that.
I don't.
Yeah,
it
something
was
where it
something
can't be,
like
like,
that.
reversed.
Yeah, and then and then because he didn't know who I was, he was like, "Who are you?" It's like I hired somebody in a dumpster. Like he must have just not even thought nothing of the dumpster.
Because people don't really pay attention to the dumpster. That's how these lead farms work. Because as long as a steel container shows up at these people's homes, they literally have no clue. So these lead farms, the legitimate
is that
ones,
what happened? Because like that was my guess.
There are
Because we could
legitimate
not figure it
companies
out. And I was talking to the guy in my office, and I said, "This is what I think is happening." I said, "I think someone else told him they would give him a dumpster, took his money, paid us, and then just charged it back so they can make the full profit on the job and never do anything."
Well, the biggest
because
one
the person that we had on file that actually booked it, because I pulled the phone record, and it was a woman that was booking it, and then she was like so adamant about paying, because recently we've been really pushing where it's like, dude, we're not taking payment till we're on site, so we can swipe this card because it's over the phone. And she called 3 times, so we had 3 recordings of her being like, "Well, no, I need to pay now," and then it'd be like, "Well, something." She's like, "Well, no one's gonna be on site.
Yeah.
I have to pay now." But she was just so adamant. Usually people are like,
Happy to just do it. Yeah.
happy
I
to
don't
be
care.
like, "Come after me when you need it."
Yeah.
But she was and I kept thinking, I was like, she must have gotten contacted by him, and it's just somebody sitting in an office or sitting in their apartment, and they're just, so it's like a.
So this is
it's
the
Facebook.
scam that I've been scammed by, and that I see a lot on Facebook and like these dumpster groups and stuff. There are dumpster groups. I know you're not on social, Instagram or Facebook.
I dabble.
Well, there are groups for people who are in the dumpster game.
Yeah.
And so,
I see
people
people.
share knowledge and like what's happening. So
I see people all the time. What would you charge for this?
Well,
What would you charge for
the
this?
good groups actually don't really have that stuff. It's more like business focused.
Oh, okay. Can I find gurus on there?
On the good ones, you can't.
Oh.
But some of the groups are run by the gurus themselves.
Okay. I know a few.
They're cultivating their unsuspecting audience. But so the Facebook scam is someone posing as a dumpster rental business in a certain area is on Marketplace that sells dumpsters for way cheaper than the cost would be. So if a dumpster is $500 in that area, they're selling it for like $350 or something. So it's like a no-brainer. It's like all included and everything. So someone goes on Marketplace and they see, oh, look, there's a dumpster company, it has a dumpster page, and then they send their payment for that dumpster through Zelle or something that can't be reversed.
And it's probably cheap.
And it's cheaper. And then so they book a dumpster. Then that person, the scammer, so it's a real person, a real homeowner who needs a dumpster. Then the scammer contacts a real business like ours, and then they book that dumpster with us. They use a credit card. I mean, so this happened to me 12 times. It's 12 different credit cards, and it's 12 different people's names, and it's 12 different phone numbers. So they have some racket set up. So I don't know. It may be stolen credit cards where they're charging with a stolen credit card from us. So it goes through, we get the real address, we don't get the real homeowner's information, we get their scammer fake information. So the charge goes through, it looks like a real person, you know, it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, you know, the credit card went through, it's a real person, it's a real address for a real time.
It's a fucking geese.
But it's a goose. And then you go and you deliver it, and you don't know that anything is wrong yet. The customer uses the dumpster, we pick it up, we empty it out, everything seems normal, and then when the stolen credit card person
sees it,
they charge it back, because that is fraud to them, so they'll always win. But it's also fraud to us, but because we're a business, we can't win.
So everyone loses.
So everyone
besides
loses.
The person that got the
besides,
dumpster. Besides the scammer.
The homeowner.
The homeowner
paid
actually
for a
wins,
service. Yeah. They got a very good discounted service, and they still got to use it. And then the scammer makes out obviously the best, and that's a racket that's all around
how do you
the nation.
not get?
So we ask more questions. So the person was always Spanish. So
That's what mine just was.
Yeah. So I don't know if
both the 5 dumpsters I just told you about, and then the other one. They were both Spanish.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's the same people or not, but it was Spanish people. Who don't ever really want to deal in text. They don't ever want to send pictures. So we started figuring out like what they can't provide. So we're like, yes, like we need you to send us a picture of the placement. Like you live there, right? And then it's like, oh no, like we're actually not going to be there. And like, well, we're working on the house. Or like then the story kind of changes. So you just ask more questions. And then it's like, all right, well, we can go and deliver, but we need like a signature on site. So you ask more questions, and then you have to have something else like.
When did this start?
When you're there. This happened probably like a year ago, maybe 8 months ago.
Because I just had for
Like
February alone, I had
like 2 months.
I had $4,500 in chargebacks, and everything I've looked into, it was Rodriguez, Gomez, Madeirez, and there was another one, and I was like, that was the one thing that stood out. I thought that was really strange. And the guy I spoke to today, that's how I figured it out, because like he was talking to me, and I'm like, this is weird. They usually just ignore you. And the number. So this is how I got
out at an
this
area
is how
number,
I figured
maybe.
it out. It was an in there area number, but it just was completely. It's like not even. It wasn't a service anymore. And the name I'm looking up, this person doesn't exist. The only thing that I figured that one guy out with was the address was a business. I called the business and I said, "What's up?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we hired a contractor. It's this guy." And he gave me the guy's phone number. And then I talked to him. He goes, "Yeah, I paid you." And then he's going on about the name of the company he paid. And I don't even remember what it was like.
Yeah, just some made up. It's like not even a real thing.
It was Jose's Dumpsters or something like that. And he's telling me, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I gave you a dumpster and you charged, like I'm telling him, like you charged me back. And I told him, I was like, your credit card ends in 1789 or whatever. And he's like, no.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's the racket. So with us, you start to just ask questions.
You could have saved me so much money.
Well, you should talk to me more. Once a week podcast isn't enough where we're sitting here talking for hours. But so we just started asking questions. And
can't wait to tell everyone.
We started analyzing the chargebacks too to find commonalities. And it was like out of area phone numbers, the billing address for the credit card was typically out of state as well. So it's like nothing was really matching. And like so those things started to pop up, and you're like, with all due respect, if it's like Spanish guy, unfortunately, Spanish guy, caller, out of area phone number, out of area billing address for the credit card, not the homeowner, won't be there on site. So then you start to like put all these things together, and then they just don't call us anymore But another scam is going to come up, another racket's going to come up. But then you have to just take what happened, and now you have to just perfect your own delivery system.
Yeah.
Even, get it. We can't drop off unless there's a signature on site's a really good one. Because then you can just talk to that person. You can tell the driver just to talk to that person and be like, is this you? And then they're like, oh, it's not. Well, I can't give you the dumpster.
Yeah.
So at least you'll only have to pay for the trip.
I knew something. I knew this couldn't have just been an anomaly. I knew there was something more to it. Because it's just, I get a couple of chargebacks a year, and all of a sudden it just felt like it was happening in droves, and it's like now it's starting. And it was all dumpsters.
Yeah, we lost I think $6,400 in 2 months.
Yep.
Because it was 12
That's
times.
about exactly where I'm at. Yeah.
And it was $500-$600 each. So it was pretty brutal.
I felt bad because I was kind of I was like, at first I was like being rude to the guy because I'm like, he's just lying to me. I've dealt with so many people that avoid bills, or they're just like, oh, let me call you back in 5 minutes, then their phone is blocked, or
how am I checking in my savings?
Yeah. So I got to move
not
this.
Connected.
Yeah,
like Kevin Hart thing.
And so the fact that he was talking with me, and then he was like, I got to call my boss. He's like, I'm not paying you till I talk to my boss, and I was like, it was just, the whole thing was odd, and I was talking to everyone in my office. I was like, this is not normal. Mm-hmm. And then I literally was like, I wonder if he did pay somebody and they paid us. And that's when
that's got to be what it is.
Yeah, and I pulled up I was thinking of the scheme, and then I just haven't thought about it since I left the office. And you just said that. That's wild.
And so, but here's the biggest.
I got.
Yeah, and well, we all do. It happens.
Yeah.
But you try, you just don't let it put you out of business. Figure it out.
But is this a known thing though that's happening to a lot of people?
Well, it's in these groups. It's happening all over the country.
How do we scam them?
Yeah, how do we get them back? Yeah, I don't know. You have to hire John Wick or something. But so the thing that a lot of people don't realize is, so it's if it's $5,000 gone, let's just say, I'm talking round numbers, they're just like, well, what's it to you? Your business is about $2 million a year. My business, it's $5,000. So you got scammed, big deal. But it's not. That's $5,000 of profits that we now lost, because to be able to recoup that, because that's real, that's money that's just gone.
Because it doesn't happen until 2 months later.
Well, and not only that, but how much? So I always look at it as, well, how much would it take me to actually make $5,000 in profit? So if I have, let's just say, a 20% margin, $5,000. So what is that? No, my math's all off. $20,000. What's that? It's 100 grand.
100 grand. No.
Is it 100 grand?
No, it's 50.
No,
it's
50 is
50's 10.
So it'd be 75.
75.
No, wait.
No,
no it's 25.
25,000.
So
you went the wrong way.
So losing $5,000 is really like losing the next $25,000 of sales.
Yes.
Which is just crazy. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So when people, they don't realize that when mistakes happen, even though if they seem small, it's $300 here, it's $500 here, or you got scammed for $1,000 here. It's but all that stuff, to be really focused on your numbers and to know that how hard it is to actually make that in profit, not your sales.
Yeah.
Because people, they misconstrue that all the time. It's oh, well, I'll just rent another dumpster. It's $500. They see the $500 come in their bank account, and they just think oh, well, I lost the $500 here, but I just made $500. So no, you didn't.
No, you still lost $500.
You only made $100 on that dumpster. It's so that the next 5 dumpsters actually for that $500 loss, you just did for free.
Man, getting scammed is the worst.
Yeah, it sucks.
I walked out of my apartment. I'm 2 years into business, and I used to park my truck at the apartment, and I had this old it was like a 1989 Chevy 2500 it had a PTO system. I don't know if you remember those.
We have them in our hook lift trucks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, this was a fixed body.
Okay.
And that was the only PTO system I'd ever dealt with. But
what did it do what did it control?
When I say fixed body, like the dump, the bed didn't come off, but the dump, the dump
so
was
it
the
tipped
hydraulic came off of a PTO system.
So it was a dump truck.
It was a dump truck.
Okay.
That was a roundabout way of saying a dump truck.
This was not
But
your
it was
first truck,
unique.
because you talked about an old truck.
This was my
before.
first dump truck. So
Okay.
I started my business with a pickup truck, and I would pull a trailer.
And that was like an 89 Chevy too.
That was an 87 Chevy.
That was an 87.
Chevy.
Oh, so you really upgraded when you got your dump.
Big time, yeah.
By 2 years.
So oh my God, when that happened, when I got that truck, I bought it for $2,200, and I remember being like, I am the shit. But anyway, I had that truck, the pickup truck, and then I sold it. I remember I bought like a 97 Honda Civic, and I was like, dude, I'm just gonna zip around in this thing. And then now I have a car and a work truck. Before it was like work truck and my truck,
Yeah, it's
and
the
I'd
same.
sleep in it half the time. So it's like I just lived in the same thing. So it was like a big upgrade for me. And it was this old shitty, had dents in it. It was white at one point, but now it was just like gray. And there were leaves that sat on the front for so long that there was like it took the paint off,
like
and there was
stain it.
marks. There was leaf marks in the paint that you couldn't get rid of.
Do you have any photos of this?
Yes, I do. I have a great photo of this truck.
Please send it to
I'll
me.
send it to you. And then, so all it was a flatbed with a PTO system with a
Okay.
dump, right? And so my dad and I went and I bought steel beams, and we bolted the steel beams onto the side. But let me take one step back. When I first got it, all it had was the flatbed, and then it had the sides were like this big. So I think they were like hauling heavy stuff
like
in it.
rock or
so the
something.
sides were this big. It was one 2x6 that went down the sides.
How big was the bed? Like a normal pickup truck
It was
bed?
no, it was like a 12-foot bed. It was
Oh,
a big
okay.
bed. Yeah,
Okay.
it was a dump truck.
Okay.
And at first it was like I spent all my money on this truck, so I was like, I'm gonna upgrade it eventually. But I just took 2 pieces of plywood off of a job site that one of the first jobs we did with the truck, and I was like, we're just gonna keep these, right?
Yeah.
And so I kept the plywood, and I swear to God, this is at least 3-4 months. Every single job, I would get to the job, I'd take the plywood off the truck, and we would just throw junk onto the truck, onto a flatbed. And then put the 2 pieces of plywood over the top, like sides, and then strap it down with these Bertha straps, or whatever you call those big things.
Yeah,
And we'd
yeah.
strap the whole thing down. Like that was
Ratchet it
my
down.
dump truck. I just had these. It would be like everything would just be crammed on top of it. And I would just fit like $1,000 worth of junk into the back of this thing. Be flying down the highway, shit be flying everywhere. Anyways, when I saved up enough money, I got these steel beams and we put them on the side, and then we bolted them in, and then I just took plywood and we not plywood, we took 2x8s.
Yeah.
We took 2x8s and we did runners down the side and we bolted it all in, and it was like boom, I got a dump truck. It was incredible.
Do you have a picture of that?
I have a picture of that.
I need this.
And then even the doors, right? So the doors, I remember the doors were they were the same steel beams, and they were 2x4 or 2x8s, and they were treated lumber, and they were like this tall, and the truck sat up high, so we'd always have to take the door. There was
That'd
2
be
doors,
heavy as hell,
and we had to
right?
pick them up. We had to pull the things out because they were heavy enough to where. They had to be
They
heavy
sat,
enough to
like,
where they
in
would
the-
sit in
yeah,
it, right?
yeah.
So we'd pick these doors up and I'd put it down, and we'd load the truck up and whatever. Like I loved that truck. And then I saved up enough money again, and I painted the whole thing blue. And I put steel. It's so stupid thinking about the inefficiencies of what I was doing. But I took steel. I got sheets of steel.
Yeah.
12 by. I just
So
these
you can do a
huge-
nice graphic on
Yeah,
it?
and I put but I'm also adding
Tremendous weight.
10,000 pounds to this truck. So I have literally steel beams, treated 2x8s, and then steel. Steel. But I painted the whole thing baby blue with a yellow stripe going on that side. And I remember being like, "This is it."
Well, that is awesome though. But
Hold on. The end of the story was because about getting got. I'm all excited. I've had it for about 2 weeks. And
this all happened in the span of 2 weeks?
No. I now had the truck painted.
The
So I probably had it for
upgraded,
I probably had
okay.
it about 6 months. I was slowly upgrading. I was so proud of this truck. Like it was everything to me. Because I had built myself a work truck. Like this was mine.
Yeah, that's
And
really cool.
it's like mid-December, and Carson, who's working with me at the time, shows up for the morning where it's like 7 a.m. And I remember kind of being like, we got work. It's December. We barely ever worked in December back in Atlanta. back then. So anytime we had any kind of work, it was like, fuck yeah, we got work.
Yeah.
I remember he shows up at 7 a.m. and he's like, I got my lunchbox. I was like, cool, man, let's walk up to the truck. We're just walking up there. And I get to where the truck is and it's not sitting there and there's just the empty parking spot. And I was just standing there. I was like, all right, man, quit fucking me. Where's the truck? And he's like, okay, what?
You got
Like,
boosted?
what are you talking about? I was like, where's the truck? And he's like, Casey, I just got here, dude. Why are you doing this? Like, enough with the jokes. I was like, seriously, dude, where's the truck? And like, I'm sitting there and I stood in that spot for, it had to have been 30 minutes. It felt like a hole in the universe.
Yeah.
It was just gone.
Were you just like through your head, like questioning, like, did I park it somewhere else? Did you have like any other parking spot? Like,
Yeah.
am I losing it? Because
I kept thinking, it's got to be somewhere.
like when my car would get towed in Boston back in college when I used to drive in to see my now wife, my car would get towed every once in a while, and it's like the same feeling, being like,
It's, yeah.
I thought it was like what?
But then I went and I just called. I called the tow
worst.
yard and then I hauled another one. Then I'm sitting on the phone and like, eventually it had to have been like 3 hours in, and I was like, dude, my truck got stolen. And I called the police. They make a report, and I'm like, they're like, what does it look like? I'm like, dude, it's a baby blue. It's literally baby blue and yellow, and it's just got steel fucking 15-foot sides on it, and it just says stand up guys across the side, and it was like, I had like basically put all of my money into this just to have this so I could finally have a logo truck, and they never found it.
I was just gonna ask.
They
that.
never
You
found
got
the
it back?
truck. Yeah. I eventually got a few grand for insurance, and then I wound up buying like a box truck, and I don't remember, like there was, there was another truck, and then I've had a lot of trucks over the years.
What'd you think of the box truck for your service? Was that like the worst mistake you ever made in your life?
No.
I felt like that was
so
our first truck was a box truck, and it was just,
at first I was borrowing my dad's truck and pulling that old trailer again while the insurance was working it out.
okay.
So I did this for about 2-3 weeks, whatever it was. And I actually sold the Honda and I bought another Chevy, like a 91. So I was really upgraded.
You were really upgraded.
And then I started pulling the trailer with that, and I was kind of waiting. And then we started getting busier. And like the business was kind of starting, I was getting momentum for the first time in my life. And then I hired another guy. So now we had like 3 of us. And it got to the point where I was like, look, I'll do the small jobs in this truck and trailer because I don't want to be pulling a lot of weight, because now I got a 1500, not a 2500. And I put them in budget trucks. So that's where it started. I was like, you guys will rent a truck, and we're gonna run it through insurance. We're gonna make them pay for it eventually.
Okay.
And so they're doing jobs in the box truck. So I never actually did it.
Okay.
And all I saw was, I was like, y'all are putting a lot of money in this truck because it's a big truck.
Yeah.
And so I'm just seeing the money rolling in. And they had AC. So they were always like, dude, these budget trucks are awesome. They had AC. We never had AC in any truck that we had. And then so when the insurance money came, I was like, dude, I'm getting a box truck. Like, this is the secret. You get a box truck because it's bigger. You can just put more money in it. And because I never was in it. I never drove it. And I didn't realize the inefficiencies of it and all that.
Not only that, and the double labor just completely wiping your guys out.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way. The inefficiency too. I mean, we would do jobs. We got the box truck, was our first truck, because we wanted a moving billboard.
I paid commission back then, though.
Oh, did you? Mm-hmm. Okay. See,
so it's like I didn't care about that.
Yeah.
Everything was gross profit off the commission. But then it was 6 months in. We were really getting, like, I was like.
So you didn't pay these guys hourly?
No, not in the beginning.
Oh, no kidding.
So man, I had it rolling in the beginning.
Yeah, that's pretty
when I first started to get momentum early on. We went from that old truck that got stolen to running 3 crews like pretty fast.
What made you think of going that route?
Because I was so clueless.
Well, but I want to ask this. So 2 questions. What made you go the gross profit commission route? How did that work? And do you think it's possible for guys to do that again today?
I'll give you all of it. So it started with, I got to show this to Carson because he'll love it. But when I was driving, at the end of every day, we would get to my apartment, and he would literally, because like back then, I had no money. And so I was always like, dude, if we work, I'll give you money. If we don't, you're kind of screwed. So do you want to come along? And he was always a good sport about it. But we were both on the same page. It was like, we got to get all these jobs. So he never complained about the work because it was like, we got to get it. And I was paying him basically per job. So it'd be like, we do this job, I'll give you $20, $50, whatever. I don't even remember what it was. But at the end of every day, we'd pull in the parking lot and he'd be like, so how much did I make today? And I'd be like, how much do you think you made today? And he'd be like, and then we'd sit there and I'd be like, all right, how about this? And it became a ritual. He would write down the number that he thought he made, and I would write down a number, and mine was always lower than his. And then we'd show it to each other and we'd laugh, and then it would be, I paid him a relatively decent amount of money. But then as soon as I was off the truck, it was really like, how am I gonna pay you? Because I'm not doing this. I remember thinking like, dude, I'm not paying you hourly. Because the first time you don't get a job, what am I gonna do, pay you? That's literally in my mind. I was like, what am I gonna do, pay you? We're not even working. I was 22 years old, so it was like, give me a little slack on it. But like, that's where my mind was like, I'm not paying you, we're not. And so I have my faults and I will always say them, but the one thing I am good at, I'm good at some things, but one of the things that I've always had a really good knack for is I'm a problem solver. So it's like I can take any problem and I'll find the simplest solution. I think that's part of being like, if you're too smart, I think you find complex solutions.
Yeah.
I find simple solutions because it's the only way for my brain to work. But my simple solution was, I want us both to make money and I want you to be in the risk with me. So let's figure out, I remember saying like, okay, I sat there and I was really trying to figure out the math, and it was basically came down to, if we have a really good day, I would make this much, so I would pay someone this much, and then never factoring in hours or anything, I basically just did off a gross profit, and I was like, look, end of every day, you and I will square up, I'll give you 25% of profit. That's what it came down to.
Profit, not...
Yeah, 25% of profit.
So it started with gross, and then it switched to profit.
Well, the gross was kind of like, because he was a hauler on the truck with me. Yeah. But yes, as soon as I was off and I'm looking at the numbers, I'm like, you have to bid, you have to go to the dump, you have to drive, and you have to go as quickly as possible because I do have to pay now the hauler, most likely hourly as we move forward.
So you just did a general gross profit.
Yeah, no, that's what it was. In the beginning, I was paying the hauler a small percentage and the guy driving a bigger percentage. I don't remember what the hauler's percentage was, but time was irrelevant.
So you just backed out dump fees and gas or something?
Dump fees, gas, and the hauler's pay, and then whatever was left, it was a straight 25%, and I would pay him every day. And that's why I was saying, like, I was rolling, because back then it was like, the money came in, I only paid you off of money that came in, so we weren't doing it. I didn't even know what that stood for. It was like, any money, like we do the work, we get paid, I pay you, I'm not paying taxes, I don't have anything. Everyone's 1099 basically, and it's all cash, and we're just moving money in that, and like it was awesome while it lasted, but you can't scale that.
No.
But I will tell you, even if you are able to scale it I'll tell you when it stopped, because I actually wound up doing this for a while.
You wouldn't be able to do that now.
No.
You can't 1099 those people.
Well, you probably couldn't now. You probably couldn't then either.
No. Well, right.
You probably couldn't have done.
I think you could get away with a lot more stuff back then. Now it's like the scrutiny is just insane.
But I got to the point where I was running 3 trucks on the same formula. But the thing was, these guys were making good money. And I was like, and part of it is like, it was a detriment to me because I never learned training early on, because it was basically like, if you don't make money, you don't make money.
Right, so
it's like, you want to make money, go figure it out. And so they were doing it, they were learning exactly like I did. But what happened was I was scaling out and we were growing, I quickly realized I have no control. When they're commissioned, you can't say like, hey, I got to add this job, I need you to go do it. If they don't want to do it, it's like,
they're like, I made enough money
today.
Yeah,
It was
I'm
like,
good.
you cannot scale at that. But if you're like, hey, I want to run 1 truck, 2 truck, I want less to think about, and I want to like just divvy it up, that was a good way to do it. It was low stress.
Were you actually making money off that?
Oh yeah, I was making money. I wasn't probably paying taxes or anything.
Because that's a pretty big cut. That's a real hefty cut that you were giving out.
But we were running out of my apartment. I'm driving trucks that don't have them. You know, they're like it.
Your overhead is pretty minimal.
Yeah, the business was inexpensive at the time. But if you're like, I want guys to put out door hangers, and we want to add in more same days, we need them to work longer, all that, anything you want to add ain't happening. So it's like, if you do that, there is a serious ceiling to it. But that's how I started. And then when I had to, but again, I remember talking to Josh Cohen, the guy that started Junk Luggers.
Yeah.
Early on, I had like
in my
found
backyard.
I found his business. I remember emailing him or something, and then like we got on the phone, and he was always so nice. Like he was so accommodating to a young kid that was like trying to figure it out. And I
What's
remember
the age
him.
difference? Do you know? I thought he was
No.
around our age.
He was established when I
Oh
wasn't.
no, actually, he must have been.
He's probably 5 years older.
Yeah, a
than
few
me.
years older. Yeah.
I think he's about 5 or 6 years older.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe even more because he started it out of college.
Yes.
I started this out of high school, and he was already ahead of me.
Okay.
He had already been in business longer than me, whatever it was. I remember him saying, like, he was like, I started my business the exact same way. He goes, if I could give you any advice, he's like, get out of it as quickly as you can, because when you got to walk it back, it's going to be hard. And then when I had to walk it back, it was very hard, because it's like, hey, I got a W-2 everyone now. So it's like all of a sudden they're all paying taxes, so their money's less. And then it's like, hey, I got to pay hourly because we got to scale this business. And all of a sudden to them, it's like, even though I tried to make it as comparable as possible, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
And that was hard. So it's like, if you want to scale a business, but to go from, I think that's why I went from 1 to 3 or 4 trucks so fast, because everyone was bought in, because
That's
we're all
interesting.
pulling from the same pool.
So how often did you and Josh speak? Was he like a mentor figure, or just
I
kind
looked
of...
at him that way. I don't know that we probably spoke, I mean, honestly, we only spoke 10 or 15 times ever, but it was always one of those things, where I would really take his advice very seriously. And he was always very accommodating. The fact that it's like he had the time. I'll never forget, I called him about something one time. We were just chatting it up, and he's like, honestly, man, I'm gonna let you know. He's like, I decided to franchise. And I was like, oh, that's really cool, something. And then 2 days later, I get this email from him, and he's like, I think you should consider selling your business to me and making it a Junk Luggers franchise.
Oh, okay.
And I remember I printed it out and I framed it, because I was like, nah.
Your story's interesting about how you've grown and without going the franchise route, because it's. I want to make sure that you're able to leave my house and fit through the doors. So I'm not going to blow your head up too
Trust
much.
me.
But from what you've been able to accomplish without franchising is, in my opinion, nearly impossible. To take on everything by yourself, because you had no outside investments.
No.
This was all just through just profits. You just kept shoveling the coal back into the engine and just...
Yeah.
And so
A lot of ramen noodle nights for a long
sure.
time. Yeah.
And so, which is like amazing, and it's cool. And my story is similar, although the business is probably, I think, what is it, about a fifth the size of yours. It was the same growth strategy. It was no outside investments. It was no PE. It was nothing. It was all just profits generated. You know, we took out some debt for the trucks and things that we financed.
Yeah,
trucks and
eventually that's
whatnot.
what I started doing.
But so what you've been able to accomplish and grow without the franchise, I think, is just absolutely remarkable. It's like now you see like companies. We were talking about one company today that's going the franchise route. I'm still not sure if they understand what that actually means or not, but that's the growth strategy. It's like, what made you decide not to do franchise? Because franchising was really hot when Josh did it.
Yeah.
Franchising was like a trending thing. Everyone was franchising. Franchises were being sold with every business. It was like, buy a franchise. Franchising was a really trendy, hot thing, and you decided to go against that. Like, what was the thinking?
In all honesty, I will say, like, I don't live with any regrets, but I will say there was a moment. If I would have, I could have got rich. I probably could have got, like, not rich quick, but it's like I probably could have franchised at that time. And really,
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Some of it was,
But that changes the whole business, though.
yeah. You go from you're hauling junk to selling franchises.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And then it's like two separate businesses. It's like your company
your
owned.
job is
locations, and then it's franchisees, and then it's a whole different department of like being able to work with the franchisees to give them the support and figure that whole thing out. You probably have to bring someone else in, especially with like the legalities behind it, the cost investment of
I think I
doing all
looked
that
at it
stuff.
as like I didn't know enough, and
Yeah.
I thought it would be a lot of money.
I read books on this
Really?
back in the day.
I also
Yeah.
looked at it though as egotistically, I remember thinking about it because it would come up. People would ask me about it a lot. I used to get requests about it all the time. People would be like, hey, would you be interested in selling me a franchise? I'm in Milwaukee. And I always turned it down because to me, and that's the egotistical part, I remember always thinking like, I don't want to work for somebody else.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, if you buy a franchise from me, now I'm emboldened to you, because if it's not working, you're going to be looking at me saying, this ain't working, I'm paying you. And not that there's anything wrong with it. I think that's the way I looked at it. But again, I was younger, and I kind of started something on a certain path, and I stayed a little hell-bent on it. And sometimes I've made some serious mistakes being hell-bent on things. Like, I opened a location up in Jacksonville, Florida years ago, and it was a bad decision. I had the wrong operator. I pushed outwards too quickly. I wasn't ready for that at that time to scale any more than where I was at. Yeah. And that location was costing me money every single month, and it was weighing my business down, and I wouldn't let go. Yeah. Because to me, I'm like, I'm not a quitter. I'm not going to start something and then walk it back. And it's like, I just kept pushing forward negatively over and over and over until finally one day I just like gave into it. And it was the best, like letting it go was the best decision.
There's a term for that. It's called sunk cost fallacy. It's when you invest in something and you don't want to give up, even though you should, because you've already invested.
Even though it's not coming back.
So you're like, you want to make it work so badly, sunk cost fallacy. So you keep investing in a losing strategy or in a losing investment position or things of that nature. You just keep going.
I did a lot of that. Yeah. Like, seriously.
It's hard.
Because there was a lot of like, because you asked something last week, something about like what mistakes did you make? And one of the big mistakes when I look back on things was there was a lot of times where I was trying to grow for the sake of growth. And when you're doing that way, you're not like, I wasn't as strategic as I could have been, because sometimes it was like, well, we'll just grow. It's worked here. Let's grow here. Let's grow here. And then I would think, well, I'll just open 3 at once. It'll hurt really bad, but eventually when they start to work, it'll all be worth it. Yeah. That's kind of how I'd look at it. And that growth for growth's sake can be extremely it's costly.
Yes.
And it's stressful.
Well, yeah.
And like it will keep you up at night.
It's taking your attention away from real profitable locations or real profitable divisions. Yeah. That you're focused so much on trying to make this thing work. And then it brings up another lesson that I learned, and it's if you quit at something, if you tried something and you had to stop, you feel like a quitter. Because like, I feel like me playing sports growing up, it's like never quit, like never give up. So you kind of have that thing. It's like, make it work, like just keep going, like figure it out. But it's like, no, not when it comes to money and business. Quitting is okay. Quitting is a strategy. If you try something and you have done it enough and you've tested and done what you have to do, there is a point of cutting loss.
Yes.
And moving that money into something else or doubling down on something that works. Quitting is actually okay in certain instances.
Problem that I had was there was a lot of instances where I didn't quit and it worked out.
Okay.
That was the fallacy I think that happened to me, because like there was times, I think it was 2018 was the year I had opened like 4 locations in a very short period of time. And I was thinking like, dude, we are clicking. I got this thing figured out. And then I did that.
Rinse and repeat. It worked here.
And not understanding the losses that can come from 4 little infant locations. And
because you're getting them off the ground. I mean, you need each location, correct me if I'm wrong, because I've done this in locations in Connecticut, but it's still kind of a centralized thing. It's not like a completely standalone. So that your situation's different. So correct me if I'm wrong, but each location needs the working capital. Each location needs a whole marketing plan. Yeah. It's a new business, a new location that has to be cultivated.
Yes.
From start. I mean,
and you're not there.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you have to pay everything. You
Yes.
can't just use your time and go and forge those relationships.
And you're going
try
into a
to get
new
it off the
city, so
ground.
you don't know anyone, right?
You're already
So it's
paying
like,
for the truck.
you have no
You're
reputation there. You know no one. But it was 2018. I had opened up a few, and I'll never forget, a large dump bill got skipped in Atlanta, and I was already pinched. I remember we used to pay every Thursday, and I was living in this cycle, and it was so miserable at the time, and where I'm like, I was living in a 7-day cycle that felt like hell.
Yeah.
Because it would be like, I would just scratch and crawl to make sure, because payroll to me was the most, I was like, I never missed a payroll. I was
Yeah.
going to make sure people got paid.
Yeah, same.
And I was going in this cycle, and it was a Monday afternoon, and this check cleared, and one of my managers had wrote it, not thinking nothing of it, and it was $11,000. Because like we had been using a dump and they weren't billing us and we didn't know. And then he got the bill and was like, oh shit, and he just paid it. And I didn't know, and the check clears the bank. And I had $115 left.
Yeah.
And it's Monday, and I have 6 locations. And I have like 30, 40 employees. And I had $115. Like, that's the
When
shit.
was payroll due? Like Thursday?
Yeah, it was Monday morning, or it was Monday afternoon. I had by Thursday, I had to come up with like 30, 35 grand, whatever payroll. I don't even remember what payroll was back then, but I remember thinking, this is the work. Like, what was I thinking? Like, why am I working for myself? Why did I like? I was so stressed I couldn't sleep. And I remember I was just on the phone with AR. I was telling guys to like, hey, push this bill here. Like, I was doing everything I could. And that was the moment where I realized, I was like, I didn't think this out. I just was going, and I'm thinking like, it worked, because that's the thing, man. I went from 1 to 3 trucks. I was like, I got this shit figured out. So then I went from 1, because like when I moved to Tampa, like I did all this, I was very bootstrapped in the way I did things, but it was always kind of like the seat of my pants. It's ready, fire, aim. It was always like, this is what I want, this is what I'm gonna do. And we got to 3 or 4 trucks in Atlanta, and I was like, you know what, this works. Why don't we just do it in another city?
Yeah.
And I bought a truck. I packed everything I owned in the truck. I canceled the lease on my house where I lived in Atlanta, and I called a property management company down in Tampa. I found a house that would allow my dog. I put all my shit in it. I drove down to Tampa. It was the first time I had ever seen the house. Was the night I pulled up. It was Halloween night 2013, and I remember thinking like, I'm just gonna start another one. Like, that's how I did it. Like, that was literally, I didn't have a business plan.
So what, you coming to Tampa, was that the idea? Or did you decide,
I had a 6-month plan. That's in my mind. I was like, I'm going to build this in 6 months, and I'm going back home.
Oh, okay.
And that was
so
13 years ago.
All right. So hold on. Let me just get the facts straight here. So you came to Tampa because you wanted to start a new location?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That was the plan.
And you'll do it for 6 months. You'll get it going.
I convinced a guy that lived in Atlanta to move with me. I was like, you'll run the location. We're going to go down there. I'll teach you everything I know. And like, this is going to be your location. And like, this is your growth plan. This is your future here. And so we drove down, and I was like, you can stay where I live. You can stay for free. And I'm going to pay you X amount a week. And like, you're going to eventually manage this location. And thinking I was going to go down there, I was just going to.
Yeah.
And then when I got here, it was quickly, I was like, no one knows who I am.
Right.
Who knows how long it's going to take for the website to even acknowledge that I'm here. I wasn't doing Google ads or anything back then. So it was like, let's put out signs, let's put out door hangers, let's knock on doors.
Let me ask you another question. Back then, and tell me if this has changed, did you have separate websites for each location?
I used to do subdomains.
Okay, so subdomains.
Yeah, so it would be like tampa.standupguys.biz, which is what I had at the time. And then I had, Nashville at standupguys.biz. Okay. Raleigh, yeah. So
what is it now?
It's just, well, now I have standupguys.com, which I eventually was able to get. And they're all just they're not subdomains, they're just like, it'll be like standupguys.com/Tampa.
Right, so it's all just built into one site.
It's all built into one site.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But that was, I don't even know where I was going with that, but that was kind of how I was growing at the time. And yes, it hurt. Like, at that time, all of a sudden, like, I'm starting from scratch again. And I remember thinking, oh, this was easy. Like, it's like women that get pregnant. I'm a woman that gets
Where
pregnant.
are we going with this?
I'm a woman that gets pregnant because you have seen women, your wife is pregnant, and if she's anything like my wife, they're uncomfortable all the time. They have these terrible cravings, these cramps. They can't sleep. They can't, they seem so miserable. And then on top of all that, they got to push a bowling ball out of their body. It's miserable. And what happens a year later? That wasn't so bad. Let's do it again.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
That's what happened to me where I was a pregnant woman and I'm thinking I forgot about all the tough nights, the long days, the no money in my bank account, all the struggles of running a business from nothing to something. And I completely just threw that out the window. I was like, I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
And then this time I'm doing it in Tampa while I'm still running a business in Atlanta. And then it eventually, through all the pain, it started to work. And so then I did it again. And then again, that's the thing. And then I opened up Nashville, but I'll go back to, I opened up in Nashville.
But
I didn't move to Nashville this
Okay.
time. This time I was like, all right, now it was again someone from Atlanta that was like, I see what you guys are doing. I want to be part of this. I want to be part of the growth. I want to outgrow Atlanta. And I literally was like, pick a spot on the map and we'll open up. And he was like, I want to go to Nashville. I said, all right, let's open up in Nashville. And that's how, so Nashville was the first location I ever opened without physically going there. And then that was kind of the blueprint for me for the future. And I had an A player. And so he made the business start moving a little bit quicker, but also we had some money, right? So we had a little bit of money.
It always comes down to people, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, now I want to just quickly, a spoiler alert, you moved to Tampa because you were going to set up the business 6 months and you're going to move back home. You still live in Tampa 13 years later.
But I did have a sabbatical.
What happened?
So in 2000, so I was here for 2.5 years. And then Nashville's starting to pop off. And then another guy in Atlanta says, I want to do what he did. So we're like, cool. This worked here. It's working in Tampa. Where do you want to go? And he had family, I think, in Raleigh, North Carolina. He's like, I want to go to Raleigh. And I was like, fucking book it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And we had we basically were I think he had a lease that was going to come up, but it was in 3 months, I'll buy within the next 3 months, I'm going to buy the truck. We'll have the website ready. We're going to park you. We're going to get an office. We're blah, 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 blah. And this is the pain part of it, or the egotistical part. So it was a 3-month ordeal. 2 months in, he has a life event that's he can't go anywhere. He had something happen with his family, and I remember I went to Atlanta, and I'm sitting there talking to him, and he's in tears. We're basically I can't do this. I need 6 months. Is what he said. He's like, I need 6 months.
This was after he already started heading up that location.
No, he hadn't got there yet. We hadn't opened
gotten
yet.
there
So it was only 2 months after we made the 3-month plan to get there, right?
Had you already made investments and it was already in
I'd
motion
already
at that
invested in the
point?
truck,
Yeah, okay.
the website, and mentally
The wheels are in
invested.
motion already.
I had
Yeah.
mentally we're doing our 4th location. I was there.
Yeah, that's hard to.
And I made the decision right then and there. I remember my girlfriend at the time who had lived with me in Tampa. I called her and I was like, we got to move to Raleigh. Because I already made this decision. I'm mentally invested. We got to move to Raleigh. I remember telling her, I was like, it's only 6 months. Because when his stuff is done, he's going to move to Raleigh and he's going to take it over. We moved to Raleigh. Same situation. I show up. It's just me. I remember even finding my first employee was hard there. So it's just me alone, out on a truck. At this point, it's we're doing a few million in sales. I have a 4th location, and I'm on a truck alone, hauling couches down apartment stairwells. And I get a phone call a month in, and it was from my manager in Atlanta, and he was like, hey, we got to fire that guy. We just caught him stealing. So the guy that was going to come to Raleigh, really just went off the rails.
Oh, wow.
So then I was like, well, now I'm here. I'm stuck here. But then that's when it was I really was I'm not doing this. I gotta grow. I gotta learn. And I hyper focused. And 1 year to the date that I was leaving Raleigh, I was running 2 full-time trucks and had a manager in place, and I left. So it's that time I was able to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then we had a sabbatical. We lived in a few other places, and then eventually it's Tampa came calling, and I came back.
No kidding.
Yeah. So this was a place that just, I think what it was is I moved here, I was 26, 27. So like living back home, all my friends were guys I went to high school with, guys I grew up with. And so a lot of the friends I had, not all of them, but a lot of the friends I had for a long time. So they were friends with like Casey in middle school or Casey as a fuck up in high school. Like, so I had grown as a person. And so when I moved to Tampa, I was making friends that were like me now, or me at that time, rather than just someone like that grew up with me. I was meeting people that were like-minded of me at that time. Yeah. And so I developed a decent amount of friends here. And so when I left, because when I left here, I thought I'll never come back. Like, this was a blip in my life. Yeah. I'm gonna go to Raleigh, and then I'm probably just gonna move back to Atlanta, like I was originally gonna do. But then, after that year in Raleigh, I was like, it's really weird, but I just want to go back to Tampa. And then my wife got pregnant, and it was like, let's go back to Tampa. And we bought a house here. Okay. And, but anyways, during all that, like during that time, it was like Jacksonville, Orlando, and Dallas, Texas. I was like opening these locations because at that point I was like, I figured it out. Like I got this figured out, but I hadn't figured it out. Nashville worked. Atlanta worked because I had an A player running it when I left. Tampa stayed working when I left because I was here to get it started, and I had an A player running it.
Yeah. So people.
And Raleigh worked because I was there. Yeah. So then but I didn't really put that together. I'm just like, I got a system, but I didn't have a system. I had people. And so that was the hard part. And then when I realized that I didn't really have a system, I just had people, the system kind of imploded on itself for a little while. And those were some of the that little stretch in the middle was some of the hardest times I ever had, because I had grown and I didn't want to backtrack, but I wasn't making enough money to be where I was at. Like it was really hard. And so like anyone that's like, I've had so many people be like, yeah, I really want to expand my business. I want to go to a different state. Like they'll say similar things.
Wait,
I'm not even like that. I'm just like, you got to ask like why? Because no one ever asked me why. Yeah. I didn't run anything that I was doing by anyone ever. That was the other thing, is like, I never asked for permission. I never told anyone. I literally just did what I wanted to do. I didn't. That's the other thing. Is no one gave me any money. Like I remember when I told my dad, I was like, "Hey, I'm moving to Tampa for the business." He's like, "Really? That's crazy. What are you gonna do?" Yeah, good luck. And like my dad's like my hero, but he would never tell me. Like he'd never question. He's always just kind of like, the kid will figure it out himself. Yeah. But yeah, just that's my story a little bit in a nutshell. I don't know how we got on that, but there's a lot of like, you might look at like some people might look at the business and be like, wow, you're in all these locations, you got all these trucks, you got 100 plus employees, like blah, blah, blah. Like you must really know what, like, it's like, no, this was all just pieced together over time.
And a thing to not skip over, because this is very often misconstrued, is the business is generating a lot of money. That means that the owner is just rolling.
That's what the employees think.
Of course they do. And that's why I'm actually open book now. I have my financials for the business are open book for my team. Everyone knows what's going on. They see the money. They see where everything is going. I adopted that philosophy close to when I took myself out of the business, out of the day-to-day. So I took myself out of the business about 5 years ago. So I still lived in Stamford, where the business was, in Connecticut. But I didn't work anymore. I didn't go to the office. I didn't really interact with people. I had just my main ops guy and my main admin person. So I basically that was the hierarchy. It was like, I'm the owner. I keep tabs on, certain metrics to make sure the business is profitable and functioning properly. Yeah. And I ran the ads to make, for new customer acquisition growth. That's how I grew the business. So I really do enjoy marketing. So I kept doing those things, but then I just delegated literally everything else. So I taught like the ops guy and the admin person like how to hire people, like what to do, and we had these processes, and I just let them go and figure it out. Like, you go and like do it, make the mistakes, and then we'll talk about it, and like we'll train you, and we'll kind of grow from there. So I already had stepped away, and then when I moved down here, it was a very easy transition when I came down to Tampa 1 year ago, because everyone's like, again, they think that I'm rolling in it as well.
Yeah.
They, your business has like $2 million. Like, holy shit! Like, what? And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, I made a lot more money actually when I was working in the business.
Yeah.
You know, and I actually made more money when I wasn't making as much money top line.
Yep. Oh.
I actually made money when I was more money when I was a
Yeah.
smaller company than I am now. It's obviously different because I have time, so I can use that time to make money elsewhere and do other things. But paying, all those people, so that's why I adopted that open book, open financial thing to let
That's smart.
the key players know what's going on. Then I also taught them like what you can do to actually move the needle. So I do profit share for the my ops guy, and I'm going to do profit share for other people as well in the near future. But also to just show them like what actions they can do to actually help the business. Because I remember thinking like, well, everyone should know like what to do. Like it was like, but I didn't have those expectations, and I didn't actually know if they knew.
Yeah.
I just assumed. I'm like, well, of course you would know what makes the business more money. Of course you would know that this costs the business money. But then when I actually sat down with them, and these are smart people. It goes back to people, right? Like, and I had winners. It took me a while to find those A players. Like they didn't just come. It took a long time to find people who wanted to grow in this unsexy environment of trash and dumpsters and want to be a part of something and selling that vision in the future. But you have to be able to provide to them for them to stick around and also take that risk on to be with a small business and not just work for corporate and get everything that comes with that. But so I remember sitting down with them and showing them everything, and both were just like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like I had no clue. And then like a light bulb went on in their heads where I like was able to explain it to them and show them like P&Ls and be like this, like, so if we improve these things, then the business would actually make more money. You will make more money. That's how this works.
This is why I'm
This
anal
is
about
why I
these
do.
small
Yeah,
things.
exactly. And they were like, oh, wow. And then from that point on, now it's like they're now business minded. Now they're owner mentality.
Yeah.
And they go for that. And that's what enables me to let the business just run. Like I don't do anything.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And like they have good jobs, they have autonomy, they're working. And the business, like we're still helping people. We're still, it's
I also
awesome.
think that's a very important thing for people to realize, because I'm assuming you might have saw there's inflection points. Maybe it's any business, but like especially in junk removal, or trucking in general. Like when you're running trucks and like there's these flexion points with a business or a location where you make I'll use round numbers, but let's say it's like a $500,000 a year junk removal company, owner operator, $500,000 can be run so lean that your margins are thick.
Mm-hmm.
If you bump that to 600,000, your margins actually shrink big time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get it to 700,000, it goes back up.
Yeah, it could start to expand.
Right, and then
they're sweet spots.
And then 800 is a real sweet spot. But what I've seen is like 800. If you want to make more than 800,000, let's say, you have to deal with the pain until you're at 1.2.
Yes, correct.
Because the gap between, I don't know what the term is, but the gap between 800,000 and 1.2, there's no profit in that gap. So you have to make that leap, and you can't do it overnight. So that's when it's like, when you're at certain spots, don't just think grow to grow, because it doesn't work that way. There is, like, in order to get from 800,000 to 1.2, there is an infrastructure that needs to be built, and that infrastructure costs money.
Yes.
You cannot operate at 1.2 the same way you operate at 700.
Right.
You just can't, or you're gonna have leakage everywhere. So you have to you find these flexion points. You find these where you're at, and then you gotta consciously make the decisions. Like if you're making good money, stress is low. Sometimes it's okay to just make money.
I agree.
Just stay and make money.
Yeah.
That took me a long time to learn.
It goes back. Everything goes back to ego, and everyone is always so fixated on top line revenue. And all the people that I talk to, and you know who you are, I'm always like, stop. Yeah. Just what are you taking home? We just focus on the business actually making real profits when everything is said and done, taxes included,
Yep.
your salary included, everything included.
Are you making money?
We just want to expand how much money you're making. I don't care about the top line. I'd rather see your business get smaller and have you make more money. You don't just grow because you want to be $1 million a year business. Yes, that is a very cool milestone. I'm not going to lie, but
I get
it's
just
like,
to play devil's advocate though. It's like, because I'm with you, but there are people that like, I want, like, it's good to strive for more. I mean, that's what I did. But there are points where it's like, okay, chill here for a minute.
But know what you're getting into as well.
Yeah, I guess that's the biggest thing. Is like, know what you're getting into.
Because they think that they're making this amount of money at this stage. So
yeah, if I'm making 600,000, if I make 700, I'm going to make an extra 100,000.
Yeah,
It's like, no,
exactly.
you're not, because that, like, you got to hire someone else to help
Exactly.
with the like. It's like there's points where it's like, all right, if the phone's ringing more, I got to have someone answer it. Right? So now it's like, oh, if we're doing this, I got to have another truck on the road because now my 3 trucks are maxed out, right? So like once you put another truck on the road, that's repair, that's a note, that's insurance, that's cruise, that's
exactly.
comp. Like there's all these things that go into
marketing.
Marketing, yeah.
Because you want to keep or however you market.
But I guess I don't want to say
keep that
like
on
it's
the road.
negative.
Like,
I wouldn't want to be like, well, I grew, so you guys shouldn't do that. Because it's like, I always thought that way. And there was times when my mindset was, this isn't working, but if I can catch up with the revenue, I'm just under, like, I would literally always be like, my business, I would get in these points where I'm like, we're not, what did I used to say? We're not starved for profit. We're just, damn, I can't remember the
you just
term.
don't have enough jobs.
No, it would be like, we're just under revenued. That's what I'd always say. It's like, we're just under revenued right now. We've built, like, it'd almost be like, I would look at it and be like, okay, now we have built a team, we have built a $5 million infrastructure, and we're only doing 3. So
Right. Oh, I see. Yeah,
we're under revenued. We can do $5 million with what we have right now. So we have to get, we have to add to the top line. There does come times where it's like, if you're gonna sink or swim, sometimes top line is the thing that's gonna save you unless you walk back.
Well, sales solves everything.
That's true. That's life in general.
Yeah,
I mean, you want a prettier girlfriend? Sales. It's like everything in life is sales.
It's sales
like,
that solves everything.
Sales solves everything.
Yeah. But I've read this often, especially during the time when private equity started reaching out to me years ago. I don't know why, but it was like when they were after like these smaller companies, because I was probably only doing about $1 million a year, but then private equity started contacting me because they wanted to buy the company and these roll-ups and all sorts of things. And I started to really read a lot about like why they wanted to do that, so I can understand and position myself, or if I did want to sell, how can I get the most amount of money? So I read a lot about that kind of stuff, and I always came across the same theory or the saying, whatever it is. It was like, most businesses go to die between 2 and 5 million, and it speaks to exactly what you were saying.
Yep.
It just in a different
It's a
way.
hard spot.
There are those sweet spots.
Yep.
Small enough or big enough, and there are these spots in between that it literally, like in books, they were trying, like, whatever that is. I don't know if it's between 2 and 5 million or whatever that range was. It was like, that's where businesses literally go to die. It's like, you see these established businesses, they're making money, revenue. They're doing jobs. They're real companies, all these things, and then they just go out of business, or then they just sell for much less because
there is that
they ran out of cash or like whatever happened.
You actually said it exactly right. It is I've read the same thing. It's the 2 to 5 million range, and it's not just, so the main thing is the operator, because you can put your hands on everything, and you can puppet master a $2, $3, and even $4 million company. It gets exhausting, but as an owner operator, you can kind of manage everything between like $2 and $3 and $4 million. But the problem is that you literally are the ceiling, and there is a ceiling. Unless you're Jeff Bezos, it's like there's not a lot of people that can withstand that ceiling. And I think what happens is so many people do get to that spot, and they're so overworked, they're so all these things, because you cannot operate at 5 million the same as 2 million.
Right.
You can operate the same at 4 million as 2 million, in my opinion, but you're not making the same amount of money. But it's like you as an owner operator can kind of control a lot. But then once you're at that, like, once you get past that, you do have to, it's a completely different model. You can't, like, you become the bottleneck in the business. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle, is if they build that type of business, they're like, well, I went from nothing to 4 million. I know what I'm doing. And it's like, yes, but you can't go from 4 to 6 on the same model, because you have exhausted your ceiling completely. And that's where that goes to die, because you can get to that point and then all of a sudden you're just banging at the ceiling and you're like, my business isn't making any money, and how long can that last?
Yeah.
And then you have to make a change where other people are running your business with you, not just you running the business.
Yeah, and even on the smaller side, like you were saying, for these guys that are starting up, they're every single growth stage, even from 250,000 a year to 500,000 to 750,000, like the business is just constantly changing, and you have to adapt as an entrepreneur in each stage and like anticipate these changes and continue to streamline as best you can and do all of these things, because you, like you said, you can't run that business, because you can do a lot by yourself. What you were saying, I think that's to be like the puppet master and operate at that level, I think is really difficult. But again, like that ceiling, and a lot of guys face that ceiling at even smaller stages, and the thinking has to change. You have to develop, you have to really start to...
Yeah, I mean, there's a ceiling when you're on the truck, right?
Right,
the
exactly.
ceiling is what you can do on the truck, and then once you're off the truck and you're operating one truck, it's like there's a ceiling to that truck. And then you get 2 trucks, there's a ceiling to that. But like, and that, you can scale that, and then you can even have an operator running the trucks, right? And then, but there's a ceiling to that person. There's these ceilings that everyone hits. And I think as like the person that doesn't have executives or doesn't have, it's just like the expenses come through me, the decisions come through me.
Right.
Like, it's like, oh, we're going to advertise here, I make that decision. We're going to open up here, I make that decision. We're going to get a new truck, I make that decision. We're going to hire this new employee, I make that decision. We're going to do this, I make that decision. You can do that up to you can do $2, $3, $4 million doing that. But then you become the bottleneck, where it's like there has to come a point where you're not making a lot of the decisions anymore.
Yeah.
I think that would be the best way to describe it.
Yeah. That's very interesting. I think it'd be very helpful for a lot of people too. One last thing that I want to touch on.
There it is.
I get it down to my little fingers.
There you go.
So I follow AI a lot.
Yeah.
I'm really into it. I think this is like the internet, like I was saying. Like, this revolution that we're in is just, I think it's life-changing. And I don't think a lot of people really understand what's going on still. So I recently put together some content online where I bought a Mac Mini little hard drive computer thing. Okay. And I hooked it up through Claude Code to be my AI agent. So I've set up a couple of systems just so far, just testing it out. I just got this on Monday.
You sound like Iron Man.
Yeah, it's kind of like Jarvis. See, I've seen that movie.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like
you have your Jarvis.
Yeah, so I like my Jarvis. So every business should be doing outreach, cold outreach, trying to get new customers. Mm-hmm. And so my admin team would do that research. We never bought lists because we found that they're really sloppy. Mm-hmm. Those lists, a lot of errors, a lot of illegitimate information. Just it didn't make sense to us. So we just did it ourselves. There's a lot of hours that go into that. So a person can do probably like 20 to 30 data pulls by themselves per hour.
Oh wow! Okay.
Like searching on for like whatever the business is that you would work with. Yeah. So with us, it's like really anyone with that needs a dumpster, which is like a lot of like contractors, like general contractors. Like you're searching for all these counties. Not everyone's on the Google map. Now you're in the Better Business Bureau and all these things, trying to like scrape all this information. Some of the searches don't actually lead to info or whatever it is. So it's like you get about 20 to 30 actual lines of like potential cold outreach. So that's like the first stage, is that research. Yep. And then the next stage is to do the outreach. Yep. So this system now that I put together, there's Claude Code, an AI agent, that can perform these tasks now. And it searches the internet like a real person. You tell it what to do. So you create a prompt and you just send it out doing whatever you want. So I tested that on what we do. So like for general contractors, I took my entire service area, which is like 6 counties, and I told it, in these counties, in these towns, search for all general contracting businesses and like all these finer details. Like the cool part about this AI agent is that it thinks on its own and it solves its own problems. So if it hits a roadblock based on your instructions, it'll find a way around. So it won't just like stop and it'd be like return and just be like, oh,
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It just figures out, okay, well, let me try this, or I'll go to this website, or I'll do this. And so now I tested this and it works. I'm not a developer, I'm not a coder. And you don't have to be now. I think they call it vibe coding these days.
Vibe
So I think I'm a vibe coder. But anyways, so I tested that out and I ran it for that general contractor, and it ran for 15 minutes. I have the $200 a month service for Claude Code.
Claude, yeah.
And it pulled 400 companies, real companies that are active right now in those areas that are general contractors. And then I ran it again for flooring companies, and then for HVAC companies, and for plumbers, and for water companies, and property management companies.
Oh, wow.
And I have thousands in like maybe an hour or two. And it's not me actually doing it. It's like you do the prompt, it runs, and then it gives you a document of exactly the information that you wanted. So now that research phase is gone. So now I don't have to pay anyone to do this research phase. So just to give a comparison, like 500 actual names would be like an entire week's worth of work for one person.
If
that's all they did for
Yeah.
like 8 or 9 hours.
Yeah.
And that's it. So now I just cut the time frame down on the research, and now my team doesn't do research anymore. They just call and they just connect and they just sell.
That's genius.
And so the power of AI for small business, if you know how to do it, and even if you don't, you ask AI,
Yeah.
and it'll tell you.
Yeah.
But now these things are available. And so I put that together, and now I'm implementing that, and we're already making calls. We sold a dumpster already. We made a connection. So that it's like that one dumpster rental that we just got
Paid for the whole
basically paid for the entire system. Like the computer Mac Mini thing was like, it was on sale for like $800.
Yeah.
So I need a couple of rentals obviously for that too, but like it's basically already paying for itself.
Damn.
And so now you have the ability for these small haulers who are on the truck who really can't do that. Like you can't do everything yourself.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about like the ceilings. But now you have AI that can do these things for you. If you can just learn and figure it out, that can work for you and kind of like either shorten time frames down or get rid of like busy work or grunt work. Like that's like where AI really shines, like for me and my businesses, is like eliminating as much of like the grunt work
As possible, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not smart automation. Like I have smart automation built in. I'm going to tell you about that system next. That's like a real person that's like out there doing this.
Yeah, that feels like a game changer.
It is.
Yeah.
It's wild. And that's just like one application. Like I just wanted to test that one thing, like just I don't know what you do, but like just
do it.
Just do it. And like
Yeah.
let me see like what happens. And I couldn't believe it. It was a file that came back like this Google sheet, and it was just like 400 names. It was like business name, like owner name if it was available, phone number, like however many phone numbers they had, email address if it was available, location address, website, and it was just like it was just 400, and I was just like, holy shit,
That's incredible.
15 minutes it ran. I was like, this is insane.
Damn.
Like, does anyone else know about this?
Yeah.
Like, and some people do, but most
Yeah.
people don't. So that's just amazing. And so I've been doing a lot of content about that, and writing a newsletter on it. A lot of people are very interested in that, and they should be. And so it's possible. I'm going to do a lot more content, but I wanted to tell you about that. But I think that's very interesting. The other system I have is for AI search visibility. So the same thing, Claude Code through my Mac Mini. And the reason I have the Mac Mini is because if you do it on your computer, so I have one computer. If I ran it on that computer, I wouldn't be able to do anything else.
Oh, yeah. So
It
you
just
have to
pulls
run this
too
all the
much.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So So it's a separate thing, but I screen share. So I control my little Mac Mini through my computer on a screen share, like through an IP address, apparently, which I figured out with Claude.
Yeah.
and I did it. So it's like, if I can do it, you can certainly do it.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So that's just like an amazing thing to actually just be able to not have to go through all the steps of like searching on Google, because it's not depressing. What's the word I'm looking for here? It's like, I don't know, like demoralizing, where you're just like,
that's all you're doing. Yeah.
It's like you're just like, I'm searching these things.
Prospecting's hard.
Yeah, it is. And then you're like, then you call and you get no's or no one answers. And then after like 10 or 15, you already spent like an hour doing all this stuff. You're just like, nothing's coming from this. This sucks.
Yeah.
But now like that's removed and all you have to do is just call. And that's just like a numbers game. It's just like call. Like just make connections. Like figure it out. Like be friendly. Like,
that's
don't
good.
try to sell.
I like that.
So that's really cool. And I'm going to share like all of the, like how to do it, the results that we're getting, and all sorts of stuff with everyone that follows me. And then the other system is for AI search visibility. So that same Claude agent, I connect smart automation with it, and I set it up so that when my guys take a photo of a job, let's say it's a dumpster, like with a house or whatever, it drops into a folder that this agent is watching, and it triggers. We write the file name, like whatever town it is or whatever size dumpster it is. And then Claude Code has a business like description page of like all of our service areas, all of our pricing, all of our values, like everything about the business, my tone of voice, like how I write and all that kind of stuff. And it'll take that. So it's watching this folder. So when something gets added, it triggers and it creates a blog post.
Oh, that's good.
So then I have my website is hooked up to that through the API connection. So it writes that blog post, and it looks like I wrote it because it knows everything about the business.
Yeah.
It takes that content, whether the photo or video, puts that on the blog, so it's real. It's not AI generated. It writes all real stuff that actually happened in that job, so it's not made up.
Oh, wow.
So it's a real post. It looks like a real person did it. Then the next trigger happens, and it takes that blog post and it reformats it for all of our social profiles, and then it pushes it all out. So now you have this automation that all you have to do after you set it up.
It's like 3 or 4 positions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, especially these guys that are on the truck or trying to grow and they're spread out all over the place, to write a blog post and then to repost it, like it takes a long time, because I did that at one point. Like it takes a tremendous amount of time. And now all you have to do, if you can set up the system properly, is just upload
a photo.
Just upload the content properly, and the system just triggers and it sends it out. It's crazy. So that's a part of like the AI search visibility to push all of that. And then you can also set up different systems where it can actually perform the outreach for you. So to go back on the research, there's a second stage where you can actually have it
cold
do
email.
I wouldn't have a robot call them, but you can do email and text that you can set it up like through your CRM, like the Go High Level thing that I created.
Yeah.
With I didn't create it. I took the capabilities and I made it.
Yeah.
Like I designed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you can actually hook it up to that, and then it'll take those names and put it in, and it'll just do the outreach for you.
Oh wow.
The reason I don't do that right now is because if it goes wrong,
you got to work out the kinks.
You have to
first.
work out the kinks, because then you're gonna lose your chance with those people potentially.
Yeah.
But also if
the
you
list alone is valuable.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, but it's just to cover that. If it goes wrong, you can lose that contact because they don't. You're removing the effort. People want to see the effort.
Yeah.
So you probably won't have a chance with that person again. Or if you get flagged as spam too much and you're sending from your domain email, you can lose your domain.
Yeah.
You can get blacklisted. That'll just crush you. So obviously, if you're going to do it, don't use your actual email. Use like an alternative. Like, so mine's grizzlyjunkpros.com. I would buy the URL like thegrizzlyjunkpros.com, and I would set up an email through that. So in case that got blacklisted, it doesn't actually hurt my website.
Yeah.
So there's some workarounds, but still, I want to keep going back to people and AI doing the grunt work. You keep the humans
making the phone calls,
doing the human stuff.
Yeah.
Being a human and and talking to people and building relationships and doing all the things.
You're getting rid of the busy work.
Yes.
That's genius.
That you don't actually need a human to do.
Yeah.
And
I
then
want to see this.
And that's just like the two little systems that I made. And this can do like, I think a lot of different
that's
things.
incredible.
So I'm going to try to expand on that and just see like what's going on really. But to keep people doing what they do best and just being people and networking and making connections.
I don't want to pay you to sit there and prospect.
No.
Yeah.
I want to pay you to actually do what only you can do as a person. So I
it
think
expands on what you have rather than taking away from anything.
Yeah. So now your company, no matter what the size is, now just increased capacity. And so people were asking, they were like, are you going to get rid of like your admin now? Like this thing's going to do? I'm like, no. I'm going to leverage them.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to elevate them.
Yeah.
And have them be even more valuable.
Because now they're looking down the barrel, like they're looking down. They have a narrow focus, and they can do whatever they're doing. They can do it better because they're not worried about all the other stuff. That's good.
Yeah.
I like
so
that.
this is very new. Obviously, what's today? I'd say it's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So this was Oh, I'm talking about yesterday. I have 3 kids and a very pregnant wife, so time is kind of like I don't really understand time right now.
Yeah.
But so yes, I mean this is so new right now, but we have success like just from yesterday.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's amazing. So now to think about these guys that want to grow, that are doing everything in the truck and all this stuff, like the technology is out there. There's so much of it, and it's information overload at this point. And so that's where a lot of guys go wrong, where there's so much to try to consume and try to figure out. But if you can take the right tools that work for your situation and implement them properly and integrate them in your system, whatever that is, like you can leverage exactly what you have so much more.
Yeah.
Wow. And then it takes you to the next thing, what we talked about before on a previous, I call these episodes, I don't know, a previous video, where I'm like the AI wave of replacing people. So just think about that system and how many roles I replaced or that I don't need.
That you don't need, yeah.
So
the people that were doing that busy work can do something else.
Yeah. Or I don't have to now hire someone else to do these things. So it's like, now extrapolate that on a much larger scale. It's like, what are these implications going to be when these tools are like fully fleshed out and developed and the bugs are worked out in these corporations and all these things? Like, what happens?
Yeah, that's slick. I like that. Yeah.
So
I want to steal that.
I'm happy to show you.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
I like that a lot.
I wanted to get that in on this recording before we wrapped up.
You need to do a graphic showing what show it in action.
I took some videos.
Did you?
Yeah. Do you want to see? It's on my phone that's recording right now.
Yeah.
But we'll stop. Do you have anything else that you want to say on this one, or you?
No, I think I'm good, man.
All right, cool.
That was fun.
All right, let me stop this.